How did a convicted felon resonate more with Americans? I mean, I just didn't like the optics of a convicted felon sitting in the White House near a fireplace. Now, as Whoopi said, that we have a convicted felon in the White House. Nominate a convicted felon.
Tell me why she got her husband is named in a lawsuit in insurance fraud.
Graduation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I didn't feel somber. I felt like the Knicks won the tournament. Insurance fraud. I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence for him.
Because at some point she gonna run her mouth so much it's gonna get you indicted.
Personal scandal that challenges all of their beliefs. Sunny Hostin, who is well known for standing firmly against political corruption, structural injustice, and corporate greed, is now enmeshed in a whirlwind of controversy. The reputation and career of Sunny's husband, Dr. Sunny Hostin, a well-known orthopedic specialist, might be destroyed by a $450 million lawsuit. The true worry, however, is Sunny's reaction if her own family members are held responsible for the problems she has been dealing with for years. In a shocking turn of events, Sunny Hostin's husband, Dr. Sunny Hostin, was named in a massive $450 million lawsuit filed in December. In the case, Dr. Hostin is charged with taking part in a widespread medical fraud scheme. According to the complaint, Dr. Hostin and more than 200 other defendants performed unnecessary surgeries on patients, many of whom only had minor injuries. Dr. Hostin reportedly inflated insurance claims by misrepresenting the severity of these injuries in order to get compensation from surgical institutions.
Tell me why she got her husband is named in a lawsuit in insurance fraud. The court is in session. Judge, can we show Exhibit B to the jury? Rolling in.
Statements.
I've been waiting all day for this one. I've been waiting my whole life for this one.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do. So there are a lot of problems with.
The allegations are true, this scheme would have put everyone's healthcare costs at risk while also putting the patient's health at risk. How exactly did this strategy work then? The lawsuit alleges that Dr. Hostin and his colleagues exploited the insurance system by performing needless surgeries on patients while eschewing less intrusive treatments like physical therapy. The injuries were exaggerated and doctors were paid for each patient referral. This practice resulted in a loop of unnecessary operations, raising the rates for everyone else. It was an exploitative system that put patients at risk to generate revenue.
Felt like America won.
Yep.
I felt like New York won. I felt like the Manhattan DA's office won. I felt like I won.
Because at some point she gonna run her mouth so much it's gonna get you in.
Despite the explosive nature of these claims, Sunny Hostin has been ready to defend her husband. She said on The View that Dr. Hostin was just seeking reimbursement for his work and that the lawsuit was an overreach by an insurance company in financial difficulties. But here's the twist. Her backing of her spouse raises serious issues. Notwithstanding her vocal opposition to fraud and corruption in the healthcare industry, is she disregarding the same behaviors that she has been fighting for years? These accusations have had a substantial impact on the public's perception of Dr. Hostin. Once thought to be a reliable surgeon, he is now at the center of one of the greatest healthcare fraud scandals in New York history. As a result, Sunny's reputation is also under scrutiny.
To find moral clarity, in this country. In the criminal case now, the prosecutors are like, oh, really? Well, how about we add some additional fraud charges onto you, threatening him with insurance fraud, which I would say you could get about 20 years in prison. So that's a death sentence for.
Some are questioning whether she is ready to subject her own family to the same standards of transparency that she has advocated throughout her career. This has led to accusations of hypocrisy. How could someone who advocates for justice and openness overlook such serious charges against her own family? Sunny has always denounced the moral failings of others, governmental corruption, and corporate greed, However, her defense of her husband comes out as more of a support for the same system she has spent her career opposing. Has she been treated unjustly, or is she the same Sunny Hostin who demands candor and openness from everyone? Even more shocking is how the media has responded to this occurrence. Controversy with a prominent leftist has received very little media coverage, yet conservative leaders are often the focus of ongoing criticism. Why does the media seem to be so silent? They argue that the so-called elite are protected from the same scrutiny due to a bias and an unwritten convention. The lack of action from the media only helps to fuel the fires, leading many to wonder whether public figures are being held accountable or if those with the right connections are governed by other laws. However, many households are involved in this instance. It highlights more significant issues with the healthcare system in general.
Appears to be an ironic twist of fate. The husband of Sunny Hostin from The View, he has been accused of federal insurance fraud in the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emmanuel Hostin is among nearly 200 defendants named in this case. He is accused of getting kickbacks by performing surgery and fraudulently billing a company that insures taxi companies, Uber, and Lyft drivers. This lawsuit alleges that Hostin and his co-defendants knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries. The insurance firm, American Transit, was then billed in exchange for kickbacks and/or other compensation, which were disguised as dividends or other cash distributions. Hostin's attorney told the Daily Mail, ironically or unironically, his client denies each and every allegation and called the lawsuit, unironically, blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier.
If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. Let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology? It always comes back to them, all right? So when you said this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services.
Doctors like Dr. Hostin sometimes find themselves in a challenging position where they must fight against corporate interests and insurance companies' greed, while still attempting to be paid for their services. The case demonstrates the wider corruption culture in the sector, where profit often takes precedence over patient care. As this situation progresses, we are confronted with challenging questions about double standards in the media, politics, and even our healthcare system. Sunny Hostin was once a shining example of morality, but her support of her husband now raises questions about her commitment to accountability and justice. Is she really willing to hold herself and her family to the same standards that she holds others to? Or is this just another example of the elite getting away with it all? Sunny and Dr. Hostin's story is only the beginning of the elite getting away with it all. Even though Sunny and Dr. Hostin's story is just beginning, the problems it raises will continue to be important for years to come. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.